Welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica Long. My guest today is Sadie Rankin. Now, this lovely face, I think many of you have come across her at some point in your life. She went from Morgan City High School as the secretary to Morgan City Bank, MC Bank, as a loan officer and then VP. And now you are the manager of Morgan City Auditorium as well as the director of Main Street. Girl, so many hats, so little time. But like, tell me, how did all of this come together? You have all this experience in your background.
I like working with people. I'm a people person. The bank, I love the bank. A great place to be. And a friend of mine saw the advertisement for the auditorium, knew I was on the verge of looking for some kind of change, and she was like, as much as I love you and hate to see you leave the bank, she said, I think you would love doing this job. She said, I think it would make you happy. So I said, well, let me apply and see what happens, and here I am. So.
Well, I know it's only been about a month and a half, maybe a little bit more than that. Today is actually May 24th. So are you still feeling the same way, that you're happy that you went for it?
So far, I love it. I love Morgan City. I think it's a wonderful place to be. All places, everything has its pros and cons, but I love the small hometown spirit that's here. Like we talked about going into a grocery store, you see people, my daughters hate that part of it. I'm a people person, so I just love the small town setting.
Right, and the fact that this is really people oriented.
Yes.
You're dealing with not only just the auditorium with folks coming in and out, but also Main Street. Do you have any type of event planning in your background? I mean, is that something that's one of your strong suits?
I don't have a whole lot of event planning. I am in Kiwanis, so we do have a lot of activities and events that we do, and I have helped out with all of those. So a little bit with that. I think it's more of working with the public and public relations part that drew me to it, and I love event planning, so it's just a bonus.
So only a month, month and a half under your belt. You got the job April 1st.
That's
what
right.
a joke, right?
April
Right. But since you've been in there, what are some of the events that that are under your belt?
Started off with National Day of Prayer. It was just a little small event that we had, but it was my first one, so I felt a little accomplished, even though it was just a very small scale. It was a great turnout. We have Memorial Day coming up, so we're going to have a Memorial Day ceremony in the cemetery, Morgan City Cemetery. That'll be Monday, Memorial Day, May 31st at 11 a.m. And Main Street Committee got together 2 weeks ago, and we're starting to plan the 4th of July celebration.
Okay. Now, tell me some of the details about 4th of July. It's kind of a big deal. You have, families come in from out of town.
It's my first. It'll be the biggest one so far that I'm doing. I'm very grateful to have the Main Street Committee with me so that we could, work it together. We are going to do it, this year it'll be July 2nd, which is the Saturday, in Lawrence Park. We are going to start at 1 o'clock with some kids' activities. We'll have some food vendors there, and then bands will start at 4, and they'll play until 8:30, and the fireworks will be over the river at 9 o'clock.
Okay, and then so July 2nd, the Saturday, and now if I recall, last year was the first time that event was moved to Lake End Park. By all accounts, it looked like it was well attended. Lots of individuals at that event, also on the water.
Yes.
Why the change in scenery?
This is my first year doing it, so I wasn't here whenever that happened. I do think that there were some logistic issues with parking. I know parking was one of the main things. It had rained, the grass and the ground was very wet, so vehicles were getting stuck. And then I came in kind of last minute, so to get the ball rolling, it just seemed like the park would be the better way to go this year. And then it is on the Saturday, so it'll give boaters still a chance to get in the water on 4th of July, if that's something that they're wanting to do.
Now, your predecessor is Beth Chesson, and she has since been moved on. She's gone to the Chamber of Commerce. Prior to that was Jonathan, and Jonathan actually still is employed with the City of Morgan City. Do you still have any, or you have any reach and say, hey, look, I need your help? Do they offer any advice to you?
Yes, Beth came sit with me once already. I know she's very busy with the chamber stuff, and she's pregnant. She's expecting her baby girl, so I know that's keeping her busy, but she is a phone call away, which is wonderful. Jonathan has come in a couple of times, so it's nice to have people around that, you know, you can look for advice or help, or if you're not quite sure of what you're doing, you know, just make a phone call.
All right, sounds good. This is getting good so far. I appreciate your time.
Yes,
First
ma'am.
time, but not your last time, right?
Definitely not.
Well, you guys stay with us. We'll be right back with more right here on The Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica. Along with me, we have Sadie Rankin, who's the manager of Morgan City Auditorium, as well as the director for Main Street. Girl, quite a number of hats that you're wearing right now.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if I should ask you this, but which one do you like? Which one is easiest, or which one, you know, like you like best?
It's a toss-up, I think.
Okay.
It's kind of two different things. I enjoy the auditorium. It's constant people coming in and out. It's different faces. Most of them I know, which is wonderful. So it's kind of time to catch up with them. Main Street is exciting. You know, it's fun stuff. I have a lot to learn, but I'm looking forward to it. This year, I just ask people, please bear with me. I'm new a whole lot. So, but I do enjoy that kind of stuff, so I'm looking forward to it.
National Day of Prayer had to be kind of a confidence booster. You did it. I was out there and I saw you kind of running around.
Yes,
You're getting together. You're like, everything okay, Danica? You good? Anybody need water? You were really trying to make sure you're on top of everything. And I
must say it is definitely in my element. I haven't done it a whole lot in the past, so it's something, yes, but it was a great day. I had a lot of help with that. The local churches did great with it. So yes, it was a nice turnout.
So some other upcoming events, we have Memorial Day, which is coming up, and that's going to be held where?
In Morgan City Cemetery at 11 o'clock. They set up by the mausoleum. So they're expecting a nice turnout. We're going to have 200 chairs out there, so hopefully they'll field. And
what's the festivities like for that? I know typically they may play taps, so they may do the gun salute.
Yes.
Do they put the
VFW has already,
flowers?
I think they got partnered up with the Scouts, and they already put out the flags for the veterans. I want to say they put out over 1,000 flags in the cemetery. So if you go by there, you could definitely see that now. And they do that right before the ceremony, so that everything's nice and fresh.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So we're in May. We'll be going into June. Nothing necessarily in June, but July, like you said, it's big to do. The Lawrence Park 4th of July, which is going to be on July 2nd. I know there are going to be some other events in between there, but I want to know, what is something new that you want to do? What is something you want to bring to this position that we have not seen?
Well, the purpose of the auditorium has always been to bring people into Morgan City. We do have a wonderful little community here, and we want others to know what we have. You know, we have great shops, we have great restaurants. So one thing that's always been on my mind, and I'd like to see it happen one day. I don't know if it's going to be this year or not, but people drive all over to take pictures. An example is Roosevelt during Christmas. You know, you see
New Orleans.
In New Orleans, you see people all the time with that same picture with the same backdrop. I'd love to have something at the auditorium where we could do, you know, something similar. They have the cypress guard, the trail back there, which we could decorate up, and maybe some activities for the children, and, you know, bring people here into Morgan City.
Yeah, because I can tell every year, until I just got tired of going back and forth, but I would go to City Park.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely an outing for the entire family. So why not have something here instead of us going, you know, to New Orleans or Baton Rouge, Lafayette? We can have something right here. So I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'll get with you then. Maybe we can get together. And
there we go. And you know what? Are you looking for volunteers? I mean,
constantly.
Okay.
Yeah, always looking for volunteers. We're looking for sponsors on different things. So. Morgan City Main Street has a Facebook page, so I've been trying to stay active on there whenever we're doing something. So I'll definitely be putting up on Morgan City Main Street, and Morgan City Municipal Auditorium also has a Facebook page. So
now, when you got into this, you had help, and you still have help. but you had your right-hand man, woman position. It was Jermaine Yarber.
Yes.
However, Jermaine's going to be leaving soon.
She is. Whenever I applied for the position, they were like, well, unfortunately, the assistant's going to be leaving. So so when I got there, it was like, okay, I've got to learn as much as I can while she's here, you know, and not, like I said, Jonathan and Beth are both a phone call away, but it's nice just to have someone in the building with you when you're on the phone.
Now the new person.
That's
You're
right.
the old new person.
Already, yes.
You'll have at least a month and a half or 2 months over the new person who comes in. But you're built for it, right?
I'm ready. I'm ready to take it on. Yes.
Awesome.
The auditorium is, I'm learning it as I go, but it's definitely manageable. So.
Okay. Well, we've got a little more to go, so come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast with yours truly. Welcome back. Again, I'm your host, Danica Long, and with me we have Sadie Rankin, who is the director of Morgan City Main Street and the manager of Morgan City Auditorium. We were just talking about you having your assistant, who is going to be your former assistant because she's gone to greener pastures.
That's correct.
And then, of course, you have someone else new. And I guess we can't name who it is. We'll just have to wait and monitor the website or the Facebook, rather. Speaking of Facebook, I noticed that there have been some policy updates and some rate changes. Unfortunately, why is that? I'm not saying unfortunately, but like, why did things go up? I know things happen. It has to happen, but
Elizabeth did a great job with that, by the way. She rewrote, she got with others, and they rewrote the policy, which is great. It's well stated, so it's you just pull out the policy and say, this is what we have to do. So it's easy. There's no veering from policy. This is how it's written. This is what we're going to do. They did that in January of this year, so it was put into place right before I came along.
So rates went up. Did they just go up because, I guess,
rates went up because over the years, it's been a long time. It's been a very long time since our rates have gone up.
Okay.
Now, we did increase the deposit, and that was, once again, over the years, nothing had changed, but we do have parties sometimes, and people just don't take care of the auditorium. You got to pay extra people to come in and get it cleaned, and it's a very big facility, and it's costly to keep up, and we don't have the extra money to pay to get a cleaning crew to come in. We have our own people there, but sometimes people come in and they just really don't take care of it at all.
That is the unfortunate part.
Very unfortunate, yes. So the deposit is required before we can even put you in the books. You pay your deposit. If you want the ballroom or the theater, it's a $500 deposit, but it is refundable. So, as long as, and each policy, we have a cleaning policy. If you use the kitchen, we have a policy for that. So everything is well written and drawn up. As long as you follow the policies and guidelines, you'll definitely get that deposit back. It's just unfortunate that some people don't care. They will come in and they know that they're going to lose their deposit, and they'll even tell the workers, hey, we're just leaving this, and we'll not worry about the deposit. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, that's the values of America.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So this kind of blew my mind. I was supposed to ask you something here. Oh, yeah, I want to ask you about just how busy. I mean, to me, it always seems like something is going on at the auditorium.
Like I said, I just came on, but with COVID, things slowed down a whole lot, of course, which it did in everywhere, but the auditorium's starting to pick up. We're in dance season right now. So when I came on, I just missed Mardi Gras.
Okay.
So that'll, whenever we get into January of next year, it'll be my first. But right now we're in dance season. So I want to say we've had three dance groups so far, and we have 3 more to go.
Okay.
So it stays busy for the week, and then they have their productions or their recitals on the weekends.
So does it get to a point, because there's so many sections of the auditorium, where you can have the theater, you can have the ballroom. Has there ever been a moment where all of the auditorium has been booked at one time?
We were talking about that today, because we have someone that's wanting a smaller party, which can be in the concourse.
Right.
But then we have someone that rented the theater and the ballroom also. Wow. I think it just depends on what it is that it's being used for. So the ballroom is just kind of being used as an extra room, while the party will be off on its own, and then the theater is going to be used for something else. So there are times, we also have, which a lot of people don't know, we have 3 meeting rooms upstairs. of course, it's upstairs, so you know, you're kind of limited with that. But the concourses are great for a little surprise party, little retirement parties, showers, stuff like that, where you don't need to fill up the whole ballroom. So we can accommodate, especially with our parking lot being the size that it is now, it helps out a lot. So we can accommodate for the most part. Now, if it's, you know, a wedding, you don't want to have something in the concourse because it's too busy and then it's going to be loud, or, you know, so you don't want those two. It just really depends on the events going on.
Okay, so that's interesting. You really have to know what's going to be there before you can really book it.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
That's interesting. So there's some more logistics that we just don't know about.
That is
that
correct.
Go into this.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to take another break, but we'll be back with our last segment right here with Sadie Rankin with the Auditorium and Main Street. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica. Along with me, we have Sadie Rankin, who is the manager of Morgan City Auditorium and the director of Morgan City Main Street. Now, we've talked a lot pretty much about Auditorium, which is great. I will say the addition of the marquee was awesome because sometimes when I'm driving down the road, I'm like, what's going on this week? And sometimes I'll get a glimpse of what's going on at the Auditorium. But you guys do a pretty good job of keeping people up to date on the Facebook page, right?
Yes, we try. We have, Morgan City Municipal Auditorium has a Facebook page, which I've been trying to keep that updated on events happening. As that happens, I'll also update our marquee. And then Morgan City Main Street, like I said, they have a Facebook page also that's pretty active.
So with Morgan City Main Street, let's kind of transition a little bit on there. There's also a Morgan City Main Street committee.
Yes.
Right? So what is the committee, the board? Yeah, what does that entail and what is it that you guys typically do?
We meet monthly, and like I said, we've only had one meeting since I've been here. It's just kicking off again. COVID really put everything into a complete halt, and so things are just starting to pick up. So I met with Main Street 2 weeks ago, mostly about the 4th of July, but we also have other things that we're going to want to discuss, things to do to bring people into the city.
Can you share some of that?
Well, honestly, the most we talked about was 4th of July, and we just barely touched on Christmas, which we kind of talked about earlier. So nothing major yet, but I promise you whenever we put a plan together, I will let you know.
Okay,
so,
awesome.
Yes, and I have some great people to work with.
And you also have a lot of, some businesses down there. Do we foresee any new businesses coming? Because I know there's some that have left, and so we kind of have some storefronts that are vacant.
We do, and part of Main Street is trying to get those businesses filled with business to come in. And when I came, I've only been here for a month and a half, so I used the "I'm new, please bear with me." And when I did start at the Auditorium, because Jermaine was leaving, my goal was to learn as much about the Auditorium as I possibly could before she leaves, and then step on over with Main Street. And the Historic District is part of Main Street, so that was a whole nother curveball kind of thrown in at me. But so there's a historic district which does some of that also. If you're in the historic district, there's separate rules and regulations that you have to follow with your storefront. Any kind of changes you want to make, you have to get all that approved. I'm not sure about new businesses coming in, but hopefully that'll happen. Yeah,
because and I will tell you, typically I have these conversations with our mayors, talk about economic development.
Right.
But there is an aspect of that, that you have to, you deal with.
Yes.
And that is building the economy here.
Yes.
And with that, you said the historic district, is that also a separate board? Does that fall under Main Street?
It's a different board. So we have a historic preservation committee.
And you're on that board as well?
Yes.
Oh, girl.
Yes.
You're right. Yeah. Y'all forgive her. She's new. She's
got her. Please forgive me, guys.
She's got a lot she's got to deal with.
Yes, I'm taking baby steps, but I have a lot of wonderful people helping me. So, like I said, my main goal was to get in that auditorium, learn it before Jermaine left. Historic District had some stuff come up, so we actually had to meet already. The board was wonderful. There are some restorations being done there, and which is a great thing because there are places that needs a little bit of work and stuff. So
let's talk about the auditorium. In that, when we think about the auditorium, we think of baby showers, weddings, wedding showers, Mardi Gras. What other type of events? Because I think that's what people need to think of in terms.
I don't know if I said this earlier, but the auditorium was in mind to bring people to Morgan City. Okay, so what I would like, I know at one time we did comedian shows. I'd like to get that back. Magic shows. We had someone come in from New Orleans not too long ago to just use the stage and kind of practice with a local magician. So that went over well. Hoping to maybe get him back. And I tell people all the time, when I was younger, I went to a Percy Sledge concert at the Auditorium.
Girl, no.
Yes. So,
I just got chills. Okay.
So something like that, you know, and like you said, even conferences, it's a beautiful
Yes.
building. It's so big, and it's just, I don't think it's used as much to its potential.
I agree.
Yes.
I definitely agree. For those interested, I mean, do we have a number that they can call to contact you or your assistant?
Yes, the number to the auditorium is 985-380-4639. We do have a Facebook page, so you can message me on there. I check that daily. And
All right. Well, that's great. So you have the phone number. You also have the Facebook
Yes,
pages, and you can just walk on over there or drive over
come
there.
on over, check it out. Yeah, that's why I tell everybody that, you know, whenever we're on the phone and they're asking about the logistics of it or the space, come on over and check it out. Do a walkthrough. It's a beautiful
And she
building.
loves to talk, so you know your 5-minute stay will turn into 30 minutes. Get all the information
Unless you don't
need.
want.
No.
There'll only be 25.
Thank you, Sadie, and thank you. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.